But it's like, if I could just stay in focus, I can get to that plan.
Mm-hmm.
What is the vision for what this is doing?
Right.
Maybe in doing that, you can find a way to fund or invest or diversify into one of your other streams.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody needs to know, like, what's the priority?
Right.
What's the focus? What brings in, what's funding
Right.
stuff?
Mm-hmm.
What's keeping the engine
lights
flowing?
on. Yeah.
What's keeping the lights on?
Yeah.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.
Everything about you.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy StephenMotivate back at you again with another episode of Wealthy Thoughts.
Yes, sir.
I'm your boy StephenMotivate with my co-host. What's up, bro?
What's up, brother? Steve James here.
What we talking about today, Steve?
Man, focus.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Laser focus.
Very good. That's very, very good.
And because last season we kind of got out of hand a little bit with the spreading ourselves thin.
Boo, 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 boo.
And now that
Oh man.
it's all about growth.
It's all about growth.
It's all about growth and learning and experiencing.
Yeah.
And but it's all a lesson. If we didn't know, we wouldn't be able to come here and talk about it.
Yeah. No, if you don't know, now you know. Like,
Yeah.
I want to apologize to everyone for advising you to start 13 businesses at once. Hopefully, I didn't mean to say that, but we definitely were very interested in being serial entrepreneurs. I've always been interested in that, but I think what you talk about now is right. Like, laser focus is the thing.
Yeah.
It's like you can get away with getting 5 or 6 different things going, and you can get them going, and like they can start generating revenue, and it can feel good.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is, like, when you're ready to go to that next level, that's where it gets a little icy.
Yeah.
Like
The next level with a particular business.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is all experience.
Yeah.
So you really don't know how important focus is until something crumbles in multiple of your business at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
That's when it becomes, it's kind of like, it's not a burden, but it feels like a burden. It's like, what did I get myself into?
Mm-hmm.
And just a caveat to that, I think it's important that when we talk about, passive income, that the automation of certain things, like once you have that set in stone, it makes your life easier.
Absolutely.
And I can speak about that when it comes to the Airbnbs. Like, I don't see my Airbnbs.
Yeah.
When I go to sleep and I wake up the next morning, it could be a booking. You know what I mean? Here's the code. The cleaner is the most important part of that business.
Yep.
So, when it comes to the advertising and all of that, like all of that is automated. That makes my life easier.
Yeah.
But when you have a more hands-on business, AKA TURO,
Yeah.
it also can be completely automated, but you have a lot more mishaps.
Yeah.
And a lot more dialogue and a lot more issues that come with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to know that that's just part of it. If you get into that particular business or a business that is going to take your time away, that's part of it. But you need to know that you have to have that time to be able to do that.
Right.
If you spread yourself too thin, you're going to get in a situation where it's something can crumble.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that backbone, or if you don't have that team to help carry that, it's going to crumble.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, this episode's about focus, and it's so possible to spread yourself thin. I feel like we're great starters.
Yeah, we are.
We can start like, oh, okay, I want to do this, bet. We got it going. All right, so then we get midway through and it's like, all right, I can't do this no more. I need someone to, and I think that's
run out of gas.
You get 4 or 5 things that's pulling at you, on top of being a father, on top of being a husband.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On top of being a bit like those things, there's not enough capacity to a person when you're spreading yourself out to multiple things.
Especially with the family aspect. I feel like when I was younger, and I like what I see a lot of the young people doing now, because I feel like entrepreneurship, even the tools that are available now, are, just imagine if I was 22 or 25 and had TURO or had Airbnb to the level that we understand it now.
Or just having social media when we was
to the level that it was. Like we had it, but it was at the infancy stages.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like it was super infancy. Like no one had figured out how to monetize it. You just posting your little pictures, and if anything, inviting people to your little parties with your little flyers and stuff.
Yeah.
But that idea that you're just gonna work and have a family and be able to have 30,000 things going on, it's just you're going to take so much time away from your family and so much time away from your relationship. And once you get into it, you realize like, oh, this is really what matters. Like I love spending time with my family. I love coming home to my girls, and it's like I'm gonna sit here and work and hustle, and like I'm just gonna be absent from them. And I'm already not home a lot.
Right.
But if I were to try to keep up, first of all, like you said, you can't keep up with it all.
Yeah, it's impossible.
You got 5 things going on. If you got Airbnb, if you got TURO, if you're trying to invest in real estate, if you're trying to sell products, physical products, clothing, whatever, merch, with all that, and if you're trying to, build your brand online, it is, the automation can help, but to your point, if something starts to crumble a bit, or something starts to break down, or if the automation needs to be reset, because once you get it set, it's good.
Right.
But sometimes you got to reset.
Right.
Sometimes I got it set, but I didn't anticipate.
I got to tweak some things.
I didn't anticipate a rod was gonna fall and start to bend, because of, it's funny, the example about having too much weight on a thing, and eventually you may not notice it all at once, but over time you're like, wait a minute, that's not holding up the weight that it's supposed to.
Yep.
And for 3, 4, 5 weeks, 3, 4, 5 months, 3, 4, 5 years, it may look like it's all good, but eventually that thing's gonna start to bend, and now stuff is off focus, and now it's helter skelter, and now it don't look right. You're not happy with it because you got too much going on. And it has certainly been a learning lesson. I've tried to intentionally really, and I had mentors, even our business neighbor here has told me multiple times, like, you got to focus, man. You got to focus. That's the thing that's, if anything, that's hurting or handicapping you, is you need to put more energy into that one thing. And like you said, we can get it started, and you can get to step, I don't know, 1 through 5, but when it's time to get to step 6,
the growth,
the growing, the growth stage, like we got it going, it's money coming in. Now it's time to grow. You need more energy. You need more of the, power or whatever. I think of like a cartoon or like a, action figure. Like you gotta get all the superpowers focused on this one thing to take
Yeah.
it to that next
To the
level.
next level.
And if you spread too thin, because I done started 6 things, because I'm good at starting stuff, but I haven't focused on one, then you put them all at risk at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like, I heard, I think it was either Marquell Russell or I forget how you said that guy's name, Alex Harmozy or something. He said, like, a lot of them have said it, like, having multiple streams of income is what the wealthy do.
Mhm.
They certainly do that, but they don't start that way.
Right.
Many times they start with one stream
Build
and
it.
then it builds
Mhm.
into multiple.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm confident you can do it. You can get to, I'll tell you, $1 million in revenue with multiple streams. But to go to 2, to go to 5, to go to 10 million, from my experience, you're not going to be able to get there. You can have 5 things giving you 200,000 each, and you got to $1 million. But to try to get one of those things to bring in $1 million, or to bring in 10 to go to, you've got to focus on that thing.
Mhm.
Like, it's just from experience now, and like you said, it's all a lesson. Like we said before, it's all a chapter in the book, but you've got to laser focus to get it to that next stage. And it's like, I don't have the capacity anymore to do all that and have a family. It's
Yeah.
just I'm cheating myself.
Yeah. And I think, with that, we have young children. You know what I mean? So, and I maybe had another one since the first season.
Yo, you definitely,
So-
yeah.
So, I just think we're in a very, like, just a different space. And that space is, like you said, realizing what's important. You know what I mean? Like, being able to spend time with your family whenever you want is priceless to me.
Yeah.
And when I can go on field trips, when I can go take the boys to go get their haircuts, when I just have the freedom to be able to do that, that's priceless to me. And I think, before we were trying to maximize on our potential.
Yeah.
And that potential is, okay, well, we have a lot of things that we can generate income off of. And, we want to be able to sit back and have that money come in so we can be able to enjoy our family. And I think that with that, you have to, whatever it is that you're passionate about, that's the one you need to really focus in on. Because let's just say you have 100% energy, right? You go do whatever business is. Let's say you're giving each business 20% of your time and you got 3 things going. Now you're at 60%. So then when you go home or when you're going to go pick your kids up or do whatever, now you're giving, okay, you got 3 kids. Okay, I'm giving 20% of, you know what I mean? To my kids.
And nothing
now
left for your spouse.
Now it's like, okay, now,
Or yourself.
now my spouse, now myself, like, you drain your capacity by spreading yourself thin. And I think that's just the most important thing because, we talk about this. It's like, man, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And, we got here by focusing on that thing that was doing the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that we have to switch that mode of, because there's nothing, I don't even want to stray people away from serial entrepreneur, because we're still serial entrepreneurs.
Yep.
We still have multiple things going on.
Very true.
But I think the main key out of this is realizing the importance of which business
Is the chief.
is the big boy.
Yeah.
And once you figure out which one is the big boy, then it's like, okay, let me attack this one a little bit more.
Yeah.
If I can automate these other ones and I know that this is the big boy, let me focus on the big boy, because the big boy can get us out of this whole whatever. As long as we
Exactly.
keep, plugging at the big thing and making that thing big, that can be the game changer, life change.
Absolutely. And you think about it, like I was telling, people on the team, like we've been dormant with
Yeah.
StephenMotivate. We've been dormant with Wealthy Thoughts for at least 3 or 4 or 5 months now.
Yep.
But that was necessary to focus on the big boy,
For sure.
to focus on the thing that's, like you said, can feed the others if necessary, but it's being strategic.
Right.
And you've got to like know when to, all right, I've got to totally take my attention off of these others, let them sleep for a while, let them just, they're out there, but it's okay. They'll need to be maybe juiced up and reintroduced, but it just, for the time being, I've got to focus on what's chief.
Yeah.
And if you can start from scratch, absolutely, like do what you're passionate about.
Right.
Because it's going to take so much out of you to do this. Like I heard a guy say, like, I think it was the guy from NVIDIA, that's the chip company guy, doing an interview, and he was like, if I would have known, you've got to be naive a bit to start in business. Because if you know all the hurdles and all the problem solving and all the headaches you're going to have to deal with, you would never do it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll just take a job or I'll just do something else. But if you're dumb enough, or naive enough to get into entrepreneurship, at least do that thing you love, because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to draw on to keep you going when it do get crazy, when it do get like, man, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why the focus is so important, because like you said, if you're draining your battery, at least give that chief thing, that big thing, most of that energy, and the thing that's winning, because all of them, they can win, but they're likely not going to win at the same rate.
Right.
And it's like, it's so hard to be profitable, stay profitable. It's easy to make money. It's hard to be profitable.
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, at the end of all your activity, be like, I paid for everything. I paid for everyone. I paid myself, and I have money left over.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, that's the key for what's a big one.
Yeah. And that's the only thing that matters. If you're working on something and you have a business that every time you look up, you're in the red, you know what I mean? It's either you need to tweak something or you need to,
pivot.
You need to pivot in the sense where it's like, okay, is this for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's easy to get to that point. And then if you're having something that's draining you, I mean, why do you think people file bankruptcy so much?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, okay, this thing is not working.
It ain't going.
You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you have the energy to do it and you're constantly plugging at it and you're plugging at it and it don't work, it's just, it just wasn't a profitable business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason that is, you're the only person that can know that, because you're the one who's really running that ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's running that thing? Yep.
And I think it's just important to know that just entrepreneurship in general it's not all caked up like
It's
how
not.
everybody makes it.
Oh,
And
it's not at
you know
all.
what I mean? Like, and I think that's another thing too. We have to get out of the habit of rushing into that space and then putting yourself in a position where it's just like, if you would have just took it slow and figured out what it was that you wanted and have a plan, because most of the times businesses that don't have a business plan, those are the ones that fail.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing to draw back on. It's like, oh, okay, I started this thing, but I never had a plan going into it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, and once you do that, that's recipe for failure.
Yeah. Because now you just out there and you just run. It's like that saying, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Because you trying to deal with the tree that's in front of you. But you got to, at some point, get that helicopter view of, okay, what am I doing? Where is this going? What's the point of all of this? And is it going to produce whatever goal I'm trying to get to?
Yeah.
And not having a goal is, you're 80% likely not to get where you want if you don't even have it stated where you want to go.
No, that's a fact.
And so, like, and that's part of focusing, because if you you know, I love the idea of the cameras and some of the stuff we've done in this space is giving me insight. Like, you know, my brother taught me this term bokeh, like when everything around the image gets blurry except for what's in focus.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you let a lot of that other stuff get blurry, and it's hard because I'm an idea guy. I'm a shiny object guy. Like, oh, show me this. Oh, I want to go do that. Oh, I want to do this. But it's like, if I could just stay in focus, I can get to that plan.
Mm-hmm.
What is the vision for what this is doing?
Right.
Maybe in doing that, you can find a way to fund or invest or diversify into one of your other streams.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody needs to know, like, what's the priority?
Right.
What's the focus? What's funding
Right.
stuff?
Mm-hmm.
What's keeping the engine
lights
flowing?
on. Yeah.
What's keeping the lights on?
Yeah, for sure.
And when you go through the line items and get down to brass tacks, okay, this is what's keeping the lights on. And that's the thing you got to give more juice to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing you got to plan more, because that's the thing that's got things working.
Yeah, that's the head honcho. That's the head. That's the part where it's the hardest, because it's like, man, I have these other things that I really enjoy doing, but this is the thing that's really the game changer.
Yep.
So we need to shift the focus on making this thing the best that we can possibly make it.
Yep.
And I just think that that's just important. I think it's important for people to know that it's cool to start that one thing, build it up till it's a well-oiled machine, and then you can shift into the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just look at just different entrepreneurs or like fashion designers. You know, you look at like Virgil and Mike Amiri and Ruigi with Rude. Like, these are individuals that only had that one thing that they were passionate about.
Yeah.
And that was fashion and design.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what their personal, and I just use those three as just, you know, just because they're in that space. I don't know if they're doing real estate and other stuff, but, you know, when you look at Fear of God and Jerry Lorenzo, like, they're tapped into that. I'm making designer goods at a premium price, and this is what I'm focusing on.
Absolutely.
So, and now that I start watching like these documentaries on how they came up and how they you know, jump started their careers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they're not talking about all the other stuff that they did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and it's crazy. So when you see these successful people that are doing it, it's just like, sometimes you got to study them to be like, okay, well, what did they do? They were focusing on that thing.
Yeah.
Now that they're whatever, cool. Now we can go buy some buildings, real estate. And, you know, I just think that once you get back to the root of, all right, let me dissect these artists. You know what I mean? It's just like being an artist, and you go back and listen to their catalogs and everything. It's just like, okay, they were making music.
Yeah, that's, well, it's funny you bring that up, because whenever I'm talking to Drew, you know, who's in the music business, one thing, like, especially early on when he had first got in, he's like, there's a lot of people who come up to me and want to talk to me about being an artist, but he was like, they don't understand that the artists who have made it or who are out there, they're like literally putting so much work in, like they're in the studio recording
every day.
So the probability of them coming up with a hit record is like 30 times higher than the guy who's recording
once a week,
even once a week, which seems like consistent and a lot. But if I'm in there almost every day,
I have no choice but to, something's going to stick. Yeah,
the focus that I have is it's going to make me sharper. It's going to make me better.
Yeah,
the sounds, all that. I'm going to get a vibe to what's going to work.
Yeah. I'm honing the craft.
Yeah, I'm honing it.
It's just like business.
It's just like business. And when you talk about Luigi and Jerry and these guys and Virgil, you know, God rest his soul, like these guys, you know, I could almost, and I don't know them personally, but I could almost guarantee that at some point in their life, when it started to go that direction, they had to cut off everything else, and they had to, this is about to bubble.
Yeah.
Because I know Jerry Lorenzo was throwing parties in LA.
Right.
I've seen some of his, story, and he had a piece that I think Big Sean or somebody had ended up wearing, and like that was a thing. So probably from that moment on, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to.
This is it.
This is
the
it."
head, this is the head honcho.
He obviously had more talent.
Right.
I could promote parties, but you could also be a fashion designer. Like, and maybe that's what you need to focus on. And I can just almost guarantee to take it to the level that it's at now, it took everything from him. It took everything out of him.
Yeah.
Like I have to literally do this.
Yeah.
I have to literally wake up thinking about this, go to sleep thinking about this. And now look at where Fear of God is. It's a top brand, is luxury. And who knows what challenge he's facing right now.
Right.
Because what I'm finding is as you get, like we talked about, as you get to different levels, it's like you're going to face different challenges that's going to stretch you, pull you, force you to think about. Now, I'm sure he started as one person. Now he got to think about staff. I'm sure he started with working with people in LA. Now he probably got factories overseas, and different. You think about Ruigi, and he did he was a creative director for Bali for a little bit. I think that's over now, but I can only imagine, like, okay, I got to try to do these two things. And yes, they have some similarities because they both fashion,
right?
But I don't know how that fully worked out, or if it was considered a failure or a success. But it's hard to try to do both of those things. It's hard to make my brand pop and your brand pop at the same time, because it's the effort that's going into it. And it could be the simplest thing, but that simplest thing takes those 10,000 hours, or takes that, you listen to, some of these guys that are speaking or talking or doing podcasts, and like, yeah, this is a thing too, but you have to get the reps in to be good at this.
For sure.
Right? It's like everything if you really gonna go to that next level, you got to put the reps in. And it's like you always knew that. You always knew it, but to me now, it's like the focus that I now see that's necessary. It's like, oh wow, with kids, with family, whatever, gotta focus more, because the professionals are doing this. It's like hooping. Yeah, you think you can hoop, but these professionals, the people that's at the top of their craft, the LeBrons that's been doing it for decades, his routine, his workout, his work ethic around that thing is huge. Now, you get to the point where, you can do a movie, you can do that. But I imagine we'll see him doing more stuff when he's not simply focused on basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
That's still his head honcho.
Yep.
That's still the thing he's focused on. And I imagine his life and everything around him has to come, has to line up to that. Like, okay, basketball is what it is. So I can't go on the family trip because I got focus on the playoffs or the next season or whatever. And while that's your main thing, what they always say, you got to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing we've learned. And it's like we knew it, but it's like you don't know it until
you're in it.
Until you're in it.
Yeah.
Like, I know I need to focus, but it's like, whoa, I really need to focus, because getting to these new levels with bigger numbers and bigger is bigger responsibilities. And ain't no way I can hold that weight and try to hold 30 other weights too. If you're gonna hold a big bag with one of your things, then the other stuff gotta wait.
Yeah.
It has to be put on the shelf for a second until until
you can't even put a date on it.
You can't put a date on it.
Yeah. Nah, that's good. That's good. I'm hoping we've learned from it.
Yeah.
So, the whole point of this is transparency. You know what I mean? It's so important that, you tell people the real. You know what I mean? You tell people how it is. Like, there is a breaking point. There is a point of spreading yourself too thin where you have no more to give to that thing.
Yep.
And when you get into that space, it gets dark. You know what I mean? It gets dark, especially when you're trying to juggle It's the juggle. Because at the end of the day, it's just like, I don't want my family to have to want for nothing. That's the juggle.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that is not going towards that, it's like, okay, I gotta put this to the side right now.
Yep.
Because you're not doing anything good for me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? This relationship that we have is not working for what I got going on.
Yep.
So if that needs to be parked over here for a little bit, okay, cool. We can, but I just think it's just important. And especially now that we getting older, bro, we're knocking on 40.
Right.
Like playtime is over with. There is no more like, oh, let's keep experimenting. Like it's like now this is the time to really hone in and dive into that thing that's going to continue to catapult. And if it's not catapulting, then unfortunately we gotta sit you on the shelf for a little bit to figure it out.
Absolutely, man. I think that's it. It's transparent. We're trying to be transparent with y'all. And hopefully this helps y'all as much as it helps us. Like focus is the thing. You don't have to go as long experimenting. Like focus in, hone in, and you'll be glad you did.
Yep.
Any final thoughts, bro?
Man. No, I think we hit it on this topic.
That's it.
Laser focus. Don't be scared to stick with the thing that you're already doing and continue to make that thing great.
Double down, triple down on that one thing.
If that's your thing, go 50, 75% harder. Don't spread yourself thin with other things that aren't, because you can have 7 businesses. People, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. You can have 7 of them that are producing no money.
Yeah, right.
Now you done spread yourself thin for kernels.
Got 37 LLCs.
You got 37 LLCs with no profit.
Right.
So it's possible, but the goal is not that. We used to say the goal is 7 streams. Yeah, the goal is 7 streams, but start with the one first.
Yeah.
Start with the one
first
and build that. Make sure it's well oiled. And once you have a well oiled machine, man, it just makes your life that much easier. So
start with the one.
That's it.
That's it, y'all. Stay motivated. Wealthy thoughts. Peace.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.